If you don't take your IP seriously, other people won't take you serious.
That's Kary Oberbrunner, entrepreneur, best-selling author, and CEO of Instant IP, an organization that has helped thousands of entrepreneurs protect their ideas and turn them into streams of income. Today, he's going to teach you, one, how some of the biggest brands in the world turn their intellectual property into their greatest competitive advantage.
Play-Doh has trademarked their scent. John Deere has trademarked their color. Tiffany has trademarked their boxes. You don't protect your IP when you're big. You become big by protecting your IP.
Two, why your IP is your most valuable asset and how failing to protect it could cost you everything.
If your competitor rushed to protect your IP and then locked you out, how fast would you be out of business? It's not just you protecting it so that you have it. It's protecting your competitors from locking you out of your own ideas.
And three, there's never been an easier or more affordable time to protect your ideas.
We take your idea, whether it's a logo, whether it's a video, whether it's a course, whether it's a file, we put that on the blockchain. And so what that does then is it tells the world you were there first. Patents are going to cost you $30K and take 1 to 3 years. Blockchain is what Instant IP is based on. Guess what? We have it down to 24 seconds.
What's up, Kary? So good to have you on the show.
Hey, it is great to be with you. I think 2020 was when all the magic happened and lots of good stuff since then.
Yeah, you better believe it. Well, you've been along the ride, along the journey with me, and I appreciate that. You've been very helpful in many ways. I'm excited to kind of unpack the story so people know more about you and the ways that we've collaborated over the years. And then for this podcast, I actually want to focus more on what I think is the most relevant topic to listeners in today's world, which is intellectual property. And
yes.
Your new book talks all about this.
Yes, I should have mailed you one, by the way, but I think I sent it to you on audio, so we're okay.
Yeah, you sent it to me on Audible, and I should get a hard copy because I want to put it on my bookshelf behind me.
I'll totally send you one.
I love showcasing books of my friends, and actually, the books behind me, these are books I read.
Wow.
So it's important to me if I'm going to showcase it that I've actually read it.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I think is so important that. When you think about IP, when you talk about IP, most people think, oh yeah, that, these big companies have
Tesla.
IP, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Apple. Right.
But you have a different story and a different message in that everyone has IP. Your brand, your name, your image and likeness, now that we have the NIL, right?
Yeah.
Like you have the ability to capitalize on all this stuff, and you've helped me be able to patent darn near 100 different items, 100 different patents through your company, Instant IP. So talk a little bit about that, because I think this is incredible. Like why do people why should they consider doing it, and how do they do it?
So this is super relevant, especially for today. And you factor AI. AI does not care who it's taking information from. Justin, this is crazy, but I found out as I was putting the finishing touches on my book, and I was just citing one of my TEDx talks, an article popped up, and it said abracadabra blockchain. I looked at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds like my TEDx talk. And then I looked and I'm like, who wrote this thing? This isn't even me. And I found out it was a filmmaker in Georgia, like the country of Georgia.
By the way, I've been to the country of Georgia, the Republic of Georgia. It's incredible. I went there last fall. And it was an epic trip.
Was it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
So this guy was like a filmmaker. He's big stuff over there. And so I recommend if anybody thinks anyone's infringed upon their IP, screenshot it. First step, screenshot it. Because you don't know the moment you contact them, is it a good guy, bad guy, good actor, bad actor? Anyway, you don't know if they're going to take it down. You don't know what they're going to do. So screenshot it first. So I screenshotted it, and then I basically reached out to him and said, hey, listen, you always assume a good motive, okay? This is hard for people because they feel like they literally had their baby stolen from them. But I co-wrote it with Katie Caldwell of Katie Rubino of Caldwell IP. Caldwell is the fastest growing law firm in America 5 years in a row. And Katie Rabino is fantastic. But anyway,
And
there's
by
a
the way, shout out to Keegan Caldwell, who
yeah,
is a friend of both of ours and
absolutely. Keegan's
a
the one who
brilliant man. He's the
he-
founder.
he's huge, man. They are amazing. They just opened up in Tokyo. They're in London. They're in California. You name it, Boston. But basically, when you feel like somebody's infringed upon you, it's a soft cease and desist. It's assuming like, hey, you probably don't know this, but we're going to send this. And there are people like Strategic Coach and EOS who literally send out 8 to 10 cease and desist letters a week.
Wow.
So I want people to realize like this is a thing. And you might think, well, I don't have really anything special. You absolutely do. Anyway, I reached out to the guy. He massively apologized, said he just hired a team to write articles on AI, and they used AI and it had scraped my TEDx talk, stole the whole thing, didn't quote anything. And essentially, now I'm in a position where I'm so glad I had protected that on instant IP. Justin, all intellectual property is based on one thing: timing. This is why I don't own the Golden Arches. This is why you don't own the Nike swoosh. You weren't there first.
Yep.
So we live in a world right now where essentially who got there first? Well, the beauty of blockchain, as I wrote about it about 3 years ago, I started to see this trend and I started to see all of our authors as literally intellectual property creators. Now, we do think of big companies as IP. Basically, the S&P 500, which I know you know that world a lot more than me. But the S&P 500 in 1975, 83% of the S&P 500 was tangible. Okay? Tangible. We're talking brick, mortar, cash, buildings, equipment, land, and 17
Product.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. 17% was IP. Along comes the internet, and at 2020, we crossed the 90% threshold. 90% of the S&P 500 is IP.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
That's
Conservatively,
huge.
2024, 2025, it's more like 96, but we still say 90%. So that means that my Apple phone here, 10% is the product, but 90% is the IP. So basically, this gentleman apologized. He took it down immediately. But the beauty of this, Justin, is that I had used blockchain. Blockchain is what instant IP is based on. Okay, patents are going to cost you $30K and take 1 to 3 years. So I want everyone to realize, like, hey, listen, if I want to go patent something, there's an 86% rejection rate. The average patent takes 2.6 times to get it approved, and each time is $30K. So you're a guy who has, like, we did a harvest on your book. And for people who don't know what that means we went through Justin's book meticulously and said there's at least, I think it was 105, 106 IP expressions, because you have 10 commandments that you wrote about, right? You have these kickers and these deals, and your book's fantastic. And you literally created a new world, just like C.S. Lewis created Narnia, Tolkien created Lord of the Rings. Your people that are listening to this, they are literally creators. So they have a choice. They can either say, it's not worth it, I'm not going to protect it, or it's too much money, or you know what? This happened, Justin, to one of our clients. One of our clients said, and again, he's in Fireplace. He's one of the top people. He's literally done Fireplaces, celebrities. I can't even name him. He said, look, I know we created this technology. It's a certain technology. It protects babies from getting burned. He says, I know my competitors steal it, but you know what? I'm not going to protect it because I just want to be a giver. I just want to, I'm not going to care. A lady turned to him in one of our coaching workshops and said, listen, I know that you're generous, but let's be honest. If your competitor rushed to protect your IP and then locked you out, how fast would you be out of business? And his face turned white. And he said, man, we would shut this whole business down in 1 to 6 months, the whole thing. And that's how powerful IP is. It's not just you protecting it so that you have it. It's protecting your rivals, your competitors, from locking you out of your own ideas.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's powerful. And it's such a great example for everyone to think about, like in their industry.
Yes.
who could put you out of business? How could they put you out of business? How can you protect against that? And by the way, doing what you're talking about is very inexpensive. You know, you
Very
talked
inexpensive.
about like 30,000 for a patent, but to
This
do
is
your instant
97 bucks.
IP, yeah,
97 bucks a smart contract. In fact, we have an enterprise level, Justin, where we get people 25 smart contracts around 80 bucks each. And it's essentially an enterprise level. And again, I came on wanting to give value. So we're going to give people a code and we want them to use it because they're going to get a percentage off everybody who joins. We're giving a $2,000 course for free.
that's cool.
What this course is, Justin, is it's 12 steps. It's 12 steps on how to build your company into an IP company. And Justin, if anybody's listening and they say, you know what, we don't have any IP, I would say, and I wouldn't tell them this. This is pretty rude, but I'd say you're lying because you're either lying, you're ignorant, or you're unaware. Every company has to have IP, otherwise there's no differentiation in the marketplace.
Right.
And then price is the only differentiator. Is this true?
Yeah, and people may truly believe that they don't have IP, but that's where they're wrong, right? Like some of the stuff that you pointed out that is my IP, I was like, oh, I never even thought of that being IP.
Yeah.
Like to me, this is just normal stuff, things that I knew or something that I came up with. And you said, no, we for sure want to get this in the blockchain right away, just to make sure that you're the first to timestamp your you know, your brand, your thought process, your content, even your mode of the way that you vet deals, etc. Even the way you negotiate deals. And I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, and people today, they hear of people like Taylor Swift, and I ask people, I say, what is Taylor Swift? And they're like, singer, entertainer. I'm like, nope, she's an IP company. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, she has 300 patents.
Wow.
Or sorry, trademarks, through 300 trademarks. She's trademarked her cats. She's trademarked Fearless. Okay. So Taylor Swift, and here's the lie, Justin, that everyone believes. Everyone believes, well, she's Taylor Swift, so of course she protected her IP. Here's the lie. You don't protect your IP when you're big. You become big by protecting your IP.
That's good.
And it's so important. This is what Dr. Pepper did. Dr. Pepper is now the second largest soft drink on the planet. Okay, Keurig bought them, and they are in the billions. Okay, Krispy Kreme. Okay, we're talking Magnolia, Chip and Joanna Gaines, Waco, Texas. I know where you are, right?
Yep.
They are serious about their IP, and even people like EOS who say, you know what, we're going to give away all of our thinking tools. That's fine. They've absolutely protected their IP. And then what they do is they say, if you want to be a franchisee who can charge money for using those thinking tools, now essentially that's IP protection. So Justin, when people hear of IP protection, they're it's very ethereal, it's very abstract. A lot of people don't get it, but I want people to realize Play-Doh has trademarked their scent.
Wow.
John Deere has trademarked their color. Tiffany has trademarked their boxes. And you might say, like, well, why? Because you don't want to buy a box, that special blue, and be confused. Brand confusion actually hurts everybody. And the average annual pirated goods, according to the USPTO, is $1.7 to $4.5 trillion.
Wow.
So this is going to happen to you. And the best thing I can do, Justin, is I can explain IP protection as a fence.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so I have a TEDx talk that has it's nice. It has 1 million views. But people realize that, oh my gosh, I get it now. Because property, we all know what property is. But if you have a MacBook Pro lying out on the yard and there's no fence, someone's going to walk and they're going to see that and they're going to be like, I'm taking that. But if you have a fence and a security camera and a dog and a sign that says protected by ADT, literally, if you interview thieves, they say it takes too much work. So thieves respect the fence. And what we've done, Justin, in this course that we're giving to all your people, they just literally go to instantip.today/bonuses, enter their email. There's no upsell. They get the course, boom, $2,000 value just because they're a listener. But here's the cool thing. That fence that we put around is, like you said, it's with the blockchain. And if people think blockchain is confusing, what are you talking about? Here's what it is. It's a public, digital, distributed ledger. So all it is essentially it's a ledger that says we're going to show transactions that take place on any device, and nobody in the world can change anything, not even the owner. So literally, when you create a blockchain with a smart contract, which is what we do, we take your idea, whether it's a logo, whether it's a video, whether it's a course, whether it's a file, we put that on the blockchain, and then a new block is created, and you can never go back and say, I want to change something. And so what that does then is it tells the world you were there first, and it creates a fence around your property.
I love that. Well, and by the way, part of the reason that Bitcoin has become the the monstrosity of an asset that it has, and you have Michael Saylor and companies like MicroStrategy that are buying it up in large billion-dollar swaths here, is because it is the foundation of it's built off of a blockchain. It's built off of a public ledger that can prove everything out. And
it's called a trustless technology. And when I first heard that, I'm like, what? Trustless? And all it's saying is that you don't need to insert trust for it to work. And what's beautiful about blockchain is it's the rails. It's like the railroad, okay, that crypto runs on, that instant IP runs on. And so it's incredibly safe, but it's cryptographic.
Mm-hmm.
And cryptographic means it's hidden in plain sight. So here's a cool thing, Justin. You can use instant IP for trade secrets. You don't have to put your idea on and make it public. You can actually put it on, and we have a toggle switch for the enterprise users that they just click hidden, and now that is locked, and nobody on the planet can see it. We don't even have instant IP in the App Store. People said, oh, you're going to lose some traffic. We're like, you know what? We don't want the App Store to have your IP.
That's great.
It's super secure, and it's literally being used already. People say, well, what does the government think about this? I encourage them to go. I actually spoke to Congress. Okay. So this is pretty crazy. If you go to instantip.today/about, you can literally hear my talk to Congress. They created a report because here's what they realized. They realize with AI and the internet, we don't want customers to be waiting 1 to 3 years for a patent and 12 to 18 months for a trademark. It's not good for anybody. And so they realize that disruption has to occur and it has to be fast. And so, Justin, when we first came to you to demo this, we were like, look, it's 24 hours. Guess what? We have it down to 24 seconds.
Wow.
So you go from smartphone to smart contract. So, Justin, think about you're with your Lifestyle Investor Lions, you're on the whiteboard, you're creating this amazing stuff, and you're like, oh, this is amazing. We should protect this. You don't have to talk to your lawyer. Not that Caldwell's bad. I actually use Caldwell. I say for your big ideas, use a trademark, use a patent. But that's like the Great Wall of China. You don't need that every single time. Sometimes you just need an electric fence, right?
That's right.
So that's the point. You go from smartphone to smart contract. All you need to do is name it and describe it.
Well, I think that's brilliant. And one of the things I feel like some of your foundational teaching is that you publish, you protect, and you promote.
That's right.
And you really need to make sure that before you promote, you've already protected.
Yes.
But and by the way, I know a bunch of people these are brilliant people, and they're like, well, there's no way I want to get any sort of trademark or patent on my IP because then everyone's going to know about it. So I love this hidden view, but it's publish, protect, promote.
Yep.
And then all those things lead to 18 streams of income. And I'd love for you to talk about what those are because I participated in most. Maybe all, but definitely most of those streams of income.
Well, Justin is very coachable, and that's actually why he's successful, and that's why I like him. Justin is a coach, and I highly encourage you, if you are realizing how valuable he is, like get coached by him. It's worth it. And he also hires good coaches. So I don't know about a lot of things, but about IP, publishing, protecting, and promoting, I do feel like that is my sweet spot. So what we do, Justin, is we say, look, your book is not a business card. And this actually goes against a lot of people. I've even heard people that you and I both respect, and they're like, yeah, your book's your business card. Okay, let's just take that for an example. What do you do with business cards?
Well, you lose them, you throw them away.
Right. Most people throw them in the trash. And so are you telling me that this baby, this book that I wrote, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, goes in the trash? Not at all. I know people that actually say, this book changed my life. I mean, I've had several books literally change my life, right?
Yeah.
You have too.
For sure.
And so if books are life changing, then they should be not business cards, they should be businesses. And so our model is that your book is a business. And so, Justin, I use your website as an example just because it's purely about 15 of the streams of income right there. And the first 4 are super easy. It's like ebook, hardcover, softcover, audiobook. But what people don't realize is, like with your audiobook, Audible has a bounty program where if people click it and they subscribe to Audible as a subscription, if they stay 61 days, you just made $70. Right? So it's not that these are just different ways to access your book or your content. An audiobook is a performance. I mean, you remember Dave recording you. It's legit work.
Yeah.
So now audiobooks are a completely new stream of income. Ebooks, you get 70% royalty. Fantastic. All right. Hardcovers make a big impact when you drop off that dust jacket that people are like, wow, we got to get this guy to speak. Well, guess what? Speaking is another stream of income. There are so many people like Patrick Lencioni. Guess what? He's doing keynote speaking on The Working Genius. So your book actually should be a keynote. Other ways, membership sites. There's plenty of people that have turned their book into a membership community. Okay. I've done this with many of my books. You're also talking about courses. We're talking about transformational experiences. So I wrote a book, Day Job to Dream Job. You're stuck in the prison of your day job. You need to go to your Zihuatanejo, which is your dream job. Guess what? I did an event at Shawshank Prison.
Oh, that's cool.
So, I mean, a mastermind is another stream of income. Like there is a lot of streams of income, JV affiliates, partners, launch teams that are paid that have special access. So, Justin, it is very interesting. And even now, yes, smart contracts or apps, you could turn your book into an app. And there are plenty of people who have done this as well.
Yeah, Hal Elrod, one of my closest friends, this year turned his book into an app, and the Miracle Morning app has just taken off, which is really cool.
I mean, we didn't even count, Harry Potter and build a theme park around your book and costumes and stuff like that. But what I want people to realize that like a book is just one medium for your message. But like you said a few minutes ago, Justin, if you don't protect that IP, and first of all, you don't even realize that it's IP. We use it in the book, an example of how most people have hidden Rembrandts in their attic. Okay. And we got this as an example from a guy named Andrew Sherman who talks about hidden gold bars. And I quote him in the book. But the point is that most companies have in their attic Rembrandts. And when they go to sell their company, and you know this a lot better than me, selling companies and this type of thing, when you buy a company and you find those hidden Rembrandts, no one's going to come back and say to the owner who just sold it to them, you know what? You had 25 Rembrandts in your attic and we want to pay another $4 million. Right? And so the problem with most people is they haven't even identified their IP. And if you can't identify your IP, you're not gonna protect your IP. So the book is called You Are an IP Company. And Justin, the whole point of the book is I want people to have an identity shift. Yeah. So whether they're a landscaper, whether they're a seamstress, whether they're in stocks, they are an IP company. And I got a lot of this coaching from Dan Sullivan.
Well, this is brilliant top-down kind of methodology and kind of worldview. And I think it is so relevant. So many people have great ideas. They have things that they can be protecting. They have, their side hustle and may not realize it. They have their full blown, next business that they could
Right.
transition into. It's really just it's something that I hope everyone thinks about. I mean, hopefully, even if you haven't read the book, and please read the book. But even if you haven't, hopefully, just the name of the book
You are an IP
itself
company. Yeah.
can inspire some sort of different thinking, some sort of action taking, because that's the truth. You're listening to this, you're watching this, you are an IP company, you have something that other people likely will want that should be protected. And please, take advantage of doing that. But when you read the book and when you talk to Kary and when you kind of learn all these ins and outs, it becomes much more obvious. At first, it's like, well, what should I protect? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't have anything worth protecting.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of IP. But the more you get in this world, the more you
That's
read
right.
this book, the more you realize the things that all these companies are protecting. And you ran through like a handful of these companies.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about some of these other powerhouse Fortune 50, Fortune 100, the Disneys, the
Yes.
Legos, the list goes on and on.
It's true. Yeah. Lego is very interesting. They have a ton of IP. And I just want to read. Katie came up with this list. I'm not going to read 45, but I want people to realize like social media handles. Okay. Domain names, customer loyalty, relationships, pricing, supply chain partners, trade secrets, agreements, websites, brochures, booklets, webinars. I mean, it's basically what makes you unique. And the problem, Justin, is that you've heard the phrase, you can't read the label when you're inside the jar. I don't know if you ever heard that, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but that is the absolute truth that most companies are like, that's not IP. That's just something we came up with 50 years ago. And, Jimmy came up with it. And it's like, actually, that's what makes you unique. And I think part of the reason I know we're talking about Jaguar right now, which is hot, and it'll be next month, something else. But like, why is everyone freaking out? It's because they feel like they're deviating from their IP.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
there's
Uber,
an inauthenticity there. It's you are this, you're pivoting to this, but we don't feel that it is in alignment with who you are, who you've been all this time, right?
That's right. That's right. You're shifting your IP on us, and we're not coming with you, perhaps, or maybe we are coming with you. But I want people to realize too that sometimes IP is combining processes. So think about Uber. Uber blended GPS with smartphones, right? With ratings, with payment. Like that actually is IP. IP is when you combine different pieces as well in a unique process. So there's co-branded IP. You've seen this before where somebody comes up with a collaboration and that collaboration is new IP. And there's a whole process about foreground IP and background IP. And when you come to a relationship, it's almost like a prenuptial agreement. Hey, we had this first, so we're going to not count that as new IP.
Yeah, that's good. And for people now, I'm hoping people are kind of like, oh, maybe this is IP. Maybe I should find out. So, what can people do to take next steps to protect this IP? Like, where do they start?
Yeah. Well, the app is literally instantip.app. So instantip.app, we've preloaded. Everybody who's listening gets a free smart contract. They can try it for free. And literally they'll enter they'll enter their name and email and create a user. And then they'll essentially hit protect IP and it'll say text, image, or file. And those are the three things that you can protect. And for some people, Justin, who are like, you know what? I don't have the ability to, protect all kinds of stuff because I have a course. Do a screencast. Like we have a lot of people who do a screencast where they say, you know what, I'm gonna literally film my course, my website, because I want on record in a smart contract with an immutable timestamp so that if anyone comes alongside and copies my course in a court of law, I can defend and say I was there first. And so we have people doing tutorials of their courses, their websites, just because they want a record that they were there first.
Yeah, and by the way, for any of you that have published anything, it's only a matter of time. If what you have published is good, it's only a matter of time until you have copycats. And this is something, Kary, you've seen happen to me with so many people that have tried to copy the Lifestyle Investor or the Ten
Yes, you
Commandments
have people
or
do that.
summary of my book. And one of the funny things is, like, part of me is like, man, I don't want to, this is just noise and I don't even want to waste time, with this. And then the other part of me is like, man, that's wrong. You're totally infringing upon,
Yes.
what I built. But, it's the saying that, copying is the greatest form of flattery or
Yes.
something like that. Right. So, but also to a certain degree, it can help kind of, the right type of copying when you have stuff properly documented. If you don't want to file cease and desist letters, it can actually help boost a little more attention to what you're doing. But you really need to protect it first, because otherwise they could swoop in and act like it's theirs.
And there's all kinds of income potential. I mean, Katie is amazing in Caldwell at licensing. I mean, CrossFit is a prime example of a business who said, you know what, we're going to protect our IP, and then we are going to license out the CrossFit name and the brand. And there's all kinds of boxes all around the country that have now CrossFit gyms, and they're totally borrowing the IP. But CrossFit loves it. They're getting paid for it. And they have CrossFit games, and all kinds of branding that's happened. So I get the whole I don't want to mess with it. I'm not that important. I'm not saying that you're saying that, but a lot of your listeners might think that. Well, guess what? Yeah, The Alchemist was pirated, and it was a huge growth because it was pirated. But no way did the author say, you know what? I don't care if somebody takes my content and puts their name on it. No, he was just saying, I want growth because people are sharing it. But you bet there's a lot of companies that cease and desist is a major strategy. I mean, we see this. Justin, why can you go to Georgia? You mentioned Georgia. Why could you go to the country of Georgia? And I don't know if they had a McDonald's or not, but let's just assume they do. Why could you go to Georgia and order a Big Mac and it actually, you and I would never eat Big Macs, but why would they ever be the same thing, the same sesame seed bun, the same way? Because of IP.
Yeah.
Justin, I think once people's brains are open to IP, they're like, oh my gosh, everything is IP. It really is.
Well, and it's funny, I'll just give an example here with Georgia, because every one of my friends that I said, hey, I'm going to Georgia, and if I left it at that, they'd say, oh,
Atlanta?
where? Atlanta?
Yeah.
Right. And then I
Right.
said, no, the country. And 90% of my friends had no clue there was a country named Georgia.
Wow.
And so when we went to the Republic of Georgia, I was blown away. By the way, a beautiful country. We got a chance to, kind of be in the Caucasus region of the mountains that separate Republic of Georgia from Russia.
Interesting.
We got a chance to be in Tbilisi, their capital city, and we went to their wine region. Actually, we took a helicopter from
you like wine? I know
the
you do.
mountaintops and literally flew to the vineyards. So it was just this epic experience. But one of the things that blew me away is how almost everyone there has an iPhone. And, this is maybe just ignorance on my part, but it is Apple has permeated the culture of even smaller, less known countries to those of us who live here in the US.
Yeah.
And I was just awestruck at how much of a thing it is just everywhere in the world, but even someplace that's so far off, that's small based on GDP, small based on land size, but how prevalent it is. And this just kind of goes to your point of IP and even how that's like a worldwide thing, right?
Absolutely.
We got to protect
Absolutely.
what we've created.
100%. Really quick, I'll close with this story. If you don't take your IP seriously, other people won't take you serious.
That's good.
And I'll tell you why. Because Coca-Cola had their trade secret stolen. You can Google this. This is true. And two people from Coca-Cola went to Pepsi and said, look, we got the formula. We will sell it to you. And Pepsi said, absolutely not. We're calling the cops. They're coming in. And these Coca-Cola pirates were shut down. Pepsi knew that if they actually bought off Coca-Cola, even though this was the Cola Wars, they would have been lit up. They would have killed the whole company. So what I'm saying is that when they say good fences make good neighbors, you have to have a fence around your IP. And if you don't, you are going to get into a lot of gray area. You're going to get into arguments. You'll probably damage relationships. And that's why IP is so important. That's why every book has a copyright. But Justin, even more than that, your new book has at the back protected by instant IP. And the reason why it does is because when people scan that, they know that you just didn't fake a C, a R, or a TM. And when they scan that, they literally go to the blockchain and say, "Oh my gosh, this guy takes his IP seriously." And the blockchain, there's a book called The Truth Machine because it's all about blockchain. You can't lie. You know that what is going on in the blockchain, you can track it back, and there is no fake news on the blockchain.
Well, I love it. Well, since you brought up my book, I actually have an interesting fact.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And to those of you that don't know, that my updated and expanded edition of the Lifestyle Investor is officially out. It's awesome. 30% more content.
Amazing.
It's the black cover instead of the white cover. So that's the newest, most updated version. But what is cool is if you are recognizing Kary's voice and saying, I can't place this voice. Where's this from? I've had several people, this has happened within the mastermind when you spoke to the mastermind, so a bunch of lifestyle investors are like, he sounds so familiar, and I can't place it. So anyone who bought my book via Audible heard someone interviewing me in between each chapter, which is you. So even in the updated and expanded edition, we kept in that interview. So you're still in there.
And I got to tell people, I learned so much. I literally learned so much by interviewing Justin. This is why you have to get his book. You have to consider your masterclass. I love it. Like I said, on your website is about 15 streams of income. You got the masterclass, the mastermind. You even have the podcast. You even have what else? Course as well. Yep. We did the course. That was fantastic.
I mean, now we've got 7 or 8 courses. We got the tax strategy masterclass and course. We've got the vetting deals course.
You got the RV one still?
We do. We have MHP, mobile home park investing. I mean, we've got a ton. We're actually building a venture course right now. We're building a life insurance product right now.
It's all IP.
It totally is. And we need to keep protecting it. So thank you for sharing your wisdom today. Where can our audience learn more about you, Kary?
So I would tell people go to instantip.today. The app is instantip.app. And again, use the Justin code because it's a great value. And you can't afford not to protect your IP. Let me just say that.
That's good. Well, this has been awesome. Thanks for sharing, Kary. This has been just a fun session. I always learn a ton when we hang out, and the info that I've learned from you, I'm like, my audience has to learn this. So thanks for sharing. I love ending every podcast episode we do with a question for our audience. So this is directed to you. If you're watching, if you're listening, what is one step you can take today to move towards financial freedom and move towards a life you truly desire, one that's on your terms? So again, not a life by default, but a life by design. And what is one thing that you can grab from Kary that can help you get there faster? Thanks, and we'll catch you next week. Kary showed us how to protect and monetize the value of your ideas. But what about the value of your entire business? If you like today's episode, you'll love my conversation with Pete Worrell. We dive into how you can maximize your business's worth and secure the best possible exit. Go check it out.